2012. The case against Uhuru Kenyatta, that is, he's facing the ICC Crimes Against Humanity case, is about to begin in April next year. His defense team is already busy working. They're applying. They want to know 3 of his accusers.
Absolutely. Well, also tonight we'll be telling you what police have found and they believe are explosive components at a Vihiga farm. That and much more coming up this hour. Let's take you straight to our top stories tonight. County Commissioner's row. Attorney General faces off with Internal Security PS.
And I'm saying, calm, baby, calm.
Miguna flees the country as Raila supporters raid his rural home. Human-animal conflict. Maasais express fury over KWS attitude. And still on KTN Prime, the magic waters of Nandi.
KTN Prime begins now. Good evening and welcome. I'm Eric Latif.
I am Anki Guta. A major row has now erupted between the Office of the Attorney General and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Internal Security over the County Commissioner's appointees.
The two sides differed openly in court today over who should represent the government, as the AG's office and Muteri Ringo's lawyer locked horns openly in court over whether the state should comply with a court ruling annulling the appointments.
KTN's Ashamwelu opens our bulletin tonight with this report.
The debate surrounding the appointment of 47 county commissioners continues to rage on, with the Office of the Attorney General and the PS in the Ministry of Internal Security clashing publicly over the matter. Now, while the AG told the court that his office is ready to comply with the court order that revoked the appointment of the county bosses, PS Muteri Ringo wants the petition seeking him to comply with the court order amended. Representing the AG, State Counsel Stella Munyi stuck to her guns that the government should obey the court's ruling. But Iringo's lawyer, Kibe Muigai, objected strongly to the petition by 2 activists, terming the application incompetent. The 2 government lawyers clashed over who should represent the government, with Munyi claiming that only the Attorney General could offer legal advice to the state. On Saturday last week, Chief Justice Willy Mutunga commented on the issue of representation.
The AG is the government's advisor, and the government can actually reject his advice and appeal, and that appeal will be heard. Yeah.
So far, one side of the coalition remains adamant that the acting Internal Security Minister's move to appeal the ruling is erroneous.
Waziri ambaye anahusika na mambo ya sheria na katiba amekubaliana na uamuzi. Sasa waziri mwingine anakwenda atinakata rufaa. Hiyo ni serikali gani hiyo?
It's this hot and cold approach by the government that has the country confused, with legislators now asking the 2 principals to settle on the matter.
I want to appeal to the 2 principals to walk that talk. They are now taking us through different directions, and this is going to divide the country.
Currently, the county bosses are still in office, vowing to stay put until the president declares otherwise. And true to his form, President Kibaki has remained mum on the matter. Ashamwilu, KTN Prime.
The row that won't just go away. This is the topic of our big question tonight, where we're asking you, do you support the move by the government to ignore the Attorney General's advice on County Commissioner's appointment? Once again, do you support the move by the government to ignore the Attorney General's advice on County Commissioner's appointment? We'd love to know what you think. SMS your yes or no response to the number 8040. We'll be sampling some of them and giving you the poll result at the end of this live newscast. Please remember to give us your name and where you're texting in from.
The International Criminal Court will not release confidential documents or the identities of witnesses to the Kenya government. The ICC pre-trial chamber says they are protecting the physical well-being and the safety of witnesses and victims in Kenya in cases facing Uhuru Kenyatta, Francis Muthaura, William Ruto and Joshua Sang. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta has filed a request asking the ICC to allow his team to investigate the credibility of 3 crucial prosecution witnesses and to reveal their identities. Patrick Amimo reports.
This was the second time that the government failed in its efforts to get witness statements, documents and other evidence in possession of the ICC with regard to the post-election violence. The pre-trial chamber says because witnesses and victims had either been threatened or actually physically harmed, and with reported incidents where confidential information about the ICC prosecutor's witnesses had been leaked, they cannot grant Kenya's request for the release of the documents. Meanwhile, the defense team of Uhuru Kenyatta wants the court to order the ICC prosecutor to confirm the identities of 3 of their confidential witnesses identified only as OTP4, OTP11 and OTP12. Uhuru argues that they want to investigate the credibility of witness 11 and 12 because they had initially offered to testify for the defense before crossing over to the prosecution. He also argues that prosecution witness number 4 had given contradicting evidence against him. The Uhuru team also wants to be allowed to reveal the identities of these 3 witnesses during their investigations. In Nairobi, a section of the civil society urged the government to stop wasting public funds.
I think it's a waste of money and time. The process has started. Dates have been set. Iendelee. We're the ones who chose it as Kenyans. Why are we wobbling now?
At this point in time, Kenya government is not party to the ICC proceedings. Let me make that clear. There are only 2 parties to the proceedings going on at the ICC, and is that the prosecutor and the 4 accused.
Githongo says the ICC process has sent a powerful domestic effect by challenging impunity of the elite and the mighty in Kenya.
ICC cannot be bribed. It can't be intimidated or killed. And that's the first time that kind of institution has ever confronted our elite. So that has shaken our local politics.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions is yet to form a special police unit to investigate and prosecute foot soldiers who fueled the mayhem. Patrick Amimo for KTN.
Controversial former Prime Minister's aide Miguna left the country last evening and is believed to be in Canada. Initial suspicion was that he had fled the country following varied reactions on his book, Peeling Back the Mask. But Miguna, however, in a statement says he is on a promotional tour in Europe and will return by the end of this month. KTN's Edith Kimani with the details.
If you fire at me, I will fire back.
On Saturday, he dared anyone angry about his controversial book to challenge him in court.
In fact, I welcome it. In fact, I encourage it. I want them to go to court tomorrow so that I can deal with them once and for all.
That brave and brazen Miguna from Saturday has since flown away to Canada. Guards manning the gate at his Runda residence turned us away when we went to look for him. Miguna, however, resurfaced later in the afternoon via his Facebook page, refuting claims that he was on the run. The former aide said that he left from JKIA and should have easily been arrested if he was indeed a fleeing fugitive. Some Kenyans, including John Githongo, a man largely seen as the face of anti-corruption in the country, defended this action. Githongo has said that given the sensitive nature of his claims, Miguna was bound to seek refuge elsewhere.
There's always going to be a blowback. Always. I said the dragon has a long tail. It can breathe fire. You can dodge the fire when it breathes, but when the tail comes round, it can pinch you.
Analysts, however, say Miguna's quiet exit could be the telltale sign of a defeated man.
If you are truly genuine and you have the facts, why should you go about intimidating those who want to question what you have presented?
The risks are still there. One weighs them themselves. The risk will never go.
Having exiled himself from the country following a bruising report on Anglo leasing, it is easy for Githongo to emphasize with Miguna. Critics, however, argue that Miguna is incomparable to Githongo for this one reason. Evidence.
He's not in the same class as Mr. Githongo. Mr. Githongo gave very substantiated, documented evidence of corruption. Mr. Miguna doesn't offer any.
Whistleblower or not, Miguna is still being sought by police following the allegations he made that he has evidence linking top government officials to the post-election violence.
Come, baby, come.
Edith Kimani, KTN Prime.
580 pages of explosive stuff that Miguna has jotted down, but does it have concrete evidence?
Absolutely, that's the question. Still on Miguna, residents of Nyando constituency, where Miguna hails from, today held a demonstration led by Area MP Fred Ota, complete with a mock funeral for Miguna that culminated in the burning of a casket.
KTN's Fred Omulo was there and he filed this report.
It was Nyando people's way of hitting back Miguna for his recent attacks on the Prime Minister. The usually reserved area MP Fred Ota came out guns blazing.
Today, we as people who loves God, we want to make sure that the spirit of Miguna will never hover in this country.
Miguna's elder brother Eric says his family has been threatened with violence over the controversial book.
If they have anything to do with Miguna, they should approach Miguna himself, not me.
And in true Miguna style, he threw a threat back at his perceived tormentors.
They should leave me and my family alone, because I also have got my sons who can face those people. But they should not involve themselves on what they don't know.
Miguna's book, Peeling Back the Mask, has undoubtedly raised political temperatures in the country and provided fodder for his foes. But the unintended consequences are reverberating deep into his extended family. From Kisumu County, I am Fred Omulo.
Now, there are meats in almost every Kenyan community, and the Nandis living in Teriga location, Nandi, are no exception. They believe a spring in Kiplolok area has special attributes, as it tastes like soda.
Well, locals tell of a story which dates back to the turn of the century when the Kalenjin and the Maasai lived there. Legend has it that the two pastoralist communities started fighting over the salty spring.
Well, the Maasai were forced to leave, but not before they placed a curse on the springs. And as KTN's Mercy Kandia reports, the Kalenjin who were left behind up to date are forced to perform a ritual before drinking this magical water.
In the remote area of Kiplolok location, we maneuver a terrain that is a path not for cars but for people on feet and cattle, a path that has had tales, interesting tales in the 18th century. A story of how the water here started to bubble in a swamp after a ritual was performed by two warring communities.
Wanangi natoka huko Aldai, anapiga hapa, anapigana na Maasai.
Akaona ya kwamba tusipofanyia hapa kibaya, hawa Wanandi watafaidika na hii.
87-year-old Daniel Lele tells us the story he was told by their forefathers that the Maasai had cast these waters bubbling as if heating, but not getting hot. The Nandi had to perform a ritual before drinking the water, believed to be spiritual. This would protect one from the curse. Then the trip to the spring starts and a drink is taken. Waters believed to make the cows healthy and quench their thirst in a unique way.
Sprite, a taste of Sprite. Sasa nikikunywa saa ile mimi nasikia malaria kidogo, mimi nasikia nakuwa nafuu.
The springs are deep, but the ground is strong enough for the residents here. It is a story, they believe, that their fathers had to fight for these waters. Frightening stories are being told over and over about dangers of taking the water from the spring without performing a recommended ritual.
Saya usiku. Wezi ona kitu hapa, naona tu kitu kama ubebo hivi. Lakini hakuna kufua nguo kwa sababu ukiona rangi yake si ya kusafisha nguo ama kusafisha kitu chochote.
They want the area to be a tourist attraction so the stories can be told worldwide.
As a result of the sound that it produces, this place is called Kiplolok. It is also called Chamugan Magilal in Kalenjin, to mean it boils up with no source of fire or heat. Whether the stories that are being told here are true or false, it has continued to fascinate generation after generation. Mercy Kandi reporting for KTN in Kiplolok, Nandi County.
Experts in the land sector want Parliament to approve the names of nominees to the National Land Commission to speed the reforms in the land sector. The Land Development and Governance Institute Chairman Ibrahim Mwadhane says that land reforms should be expedited so that Kenyans can enjoy the gains from the new land laws, even as it emerges that the majority of Kenyans only have a shallow understanding of the implications of various clauses in the land laws. Well, he spoke during the release of a scorecard report dubbed the New Land Laws.
The Land Development and Governance Institute asserts that effective application of the laws that require subsidiary legislation must be fast-tracked once the National Land Commission begins to function. But the National Land Commission cannot begin to function just yet.
Parliament should expedite the approval of the Commission so that that institution plays the rightful role that is expected.
The National Land Commission Act establishes the National Land Commission and provides rules for the management and administration of land as outlined in the Constitution. The enactment of the National Land Commission Act is geared towards dealing with the irregular allocation of land that has until now been administered and managed by the Commissioner of Lands.
Under that law, the Government Lands Act, there was gross abuse of public land.
President Mwai Kibaki has assented into law 3 other land laws, namely the Land Act 2012, Land Registration Act 2012, and the Environment and Land Court Act 2011. Once in place, the National Land Commission shall manage public land on behalf of the national and county governments. The Land Act, on the other hand, provides a mechanism to revise, consolidate, and rationalize land laws as well as to manage land-based resources. The Land Registration Act, on its part, establishes mechanisms to revise, consolidate and rationalize the registration of land titles.
If within 10 years we registered all the land we have in the country, I really do not know what I would want to say in terms of opportunity, in terms of socio and economic development in this country.
A survey conducted by the Land Governance Institute found that 57.3% of Kenyans say that they had not participated in the 3 land laws that were passed. The study sampled respondents from various counties and revealed that though Kenyans are generally aware of the ongoing land reforms, 63.2% of them were not aware of the deeper constitutional and policy provisions on land use, administration and management. The report recommended intensive civic education campaigns. Wilkiston Abwa, Ktn Prime.
There was drama in Amboseli today after Maasai Morans prematurely abandoned the meeting set to discuss human-wildlife conflict in the area after they were informed that the director of the Kenya Wildlife Service, Dr. Julius Kipngetich, whom they expected to attend the meeting, would not show up. Here is KTN's Betty Kialo with the drama that ensued.
It all started in the morning hours when these Maasai Morans began arriving in numbers for a meeting that they described as vital. In a while, they were all seated ready for the meeting that was to see top KWS officials, including the director, Dr. Julius Kipngetich, attend. An hour later, KWS officers started arriving in fewer numbers than the Maasai had expected. On arrival, they asked that the meeting start as the director had not yet communicated of his arrival. It was here that the Maasai leaders demanded that the director comes or no talks will begin.
Tulikaa hapa siku 3 tukiongoja huyo mtu. Mtu akikataa kukuheshimu, basi hiyo itakuwa shauri yake.
The leaders asked that the Maasai community members abandon the meeting until such a day that the director would have time to discuss their concerns.
Na tutakupatia siku chache sana. Na hiki hiyo ngolo mekoti. Uje uonane na sisi. Filo rua duarejo. La sivyo. Ni miasana. Uchukue wanyama yako ukafungie kwa park.
And so, after hours of waiting, the Maasais left the meeting and vowed to have no mercy on any wild animal that attacks their herds. The conflict has been on the increase in the recent past, with the Maasais complaining that the beasts of the pack make a meal out of their herds so often, but with no compensation from the wildlife body. For KTN Prime, I'm Betty Kialo.
And it's time for a reminder of our big question tonight. We're asking you, do you support the move by the government to ignore the AG's advice on the county commissioner's appointments?
The number to send your SMS to is 8040. Please begin with a yes or no plus a brief comment, and also tell us your name and where you're texting in from. We'll give you the poll result at the end of this live newscast.
While you are watching KTN Prime, just ahead.
Police in Vihiga intercept suspected bomb-making material.
Solutions and answers are not far away, especially if you know how to pray effectively. A new book by best-selling author Pastor Chris Oyakilome, PhD.
This book is very important. The title is How to Pray Effectively, Volume 1. I'm bringing out this book for your sake, all of you all around the world, so you can learn to pray effectively. Many people pray, but they're not effective in their prayer. And I want you to be effective because God wants us to be effective.
You can get your copy by calling the numbers now showing on the screen, or send a mail.
Shouts out to my people all across the world. Let's celebrate and be free. That's right. Yeah, I want to see everybody get down to this. Be all that you can be. That's right. Come on. Yeah. Like this. Stay young, do milk, stay young. Let's enjoy a life that's richer. Back to the break of stay young, do milk, stay young. Do milk.
Old Mutual has helped people invest to secure their future. With this experience comes much wisdom. The wisdom to enable you to do great things.
African dishes in association with Golden Fry. How to prepare mahamri. Ingredients: 3 cups all-purpose flour, 1 level teaspoon dry yeast, 1 tablespoon Beatty's margarine, 1 egg, 3/4 cup sugar, 1 cup coconut milk, half a cup milk optional, 1 teaspoon cardamom powder, Golden Fry oil for frying. Instructions: in a glass bowl, mix the eggs, milk, Beatty's margarine, coconut milk, cardamom and sugar until smooth. In the mixture, add the flour and knead into smooth and elastic dough. Divide the dough into 4 portions, then set aside covered with a kitchen cloth and leave in a warm place to rest for 1 to 2 hours. If the dough is not elastic enough, add some all-purpose flour. After 1 to 2 hours, lightly knead the dough well and roll out, rolling in one direction to 1/2 inch thick. Cut into triangle shapes. In a deep frying pan, heat the Golden Fry oil. Once hot, deep fry the triangular shaped dough until golden brown on both sides. Drain on kitchen paper, sprinkle lightly with icing sugar, then serve.
Golden Fry. Fries more, lasts longer.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Chibi. I'm in high school. When I grow up, I want to be a banker because I like to play with numbers when I was young. I want to use big because I want to write my future.
Think big, write big.
It's simple. The more queues you avoid, the more you can make of your day. Go straight to the store or fill up without stopping at the ATM or bank. Visa debit card. It's fast, convenient, and safer than carrying cash. More people around the world go with Visa.
Wanawake wengi barani Afrika wanaendelea kugundua sabuni ya Ariel.
Jina langu ni Catherine Kendi Mwambia, nafanya kazi, mimi ni mlinda lango. Hii imejulikana ni kazi ya wanaume, ukiwa mama lazima utokeze. Kazi yangu naweza pata uchafu aina mbili. Inabaki inatoa rangi mbaya. Nikitumia hizo sabuni zingine, najua itakuwa tu shida, lazima nisugue, lazima nifue. Niligundua siri.
Ariel mpya hupenya ndani zaidi na kuondoa madoa sugu kwa mwosho mmoja.
Mwosho mmoja tu. Mwenyewe ukiinua tumbo hivi unaangalia unaona kweli madoa zako yote, uchafu yako yote imeisha. Nikitokelezea hivyo ndio sema na notice. Hiyo usafi yangu yote na hiyo usaidizi yangu yote nimepata kwa Ariel. Haitakuwa ya bure. Na kama nitakufeka huju. Asante.
Ariel, mng'aro wa ajabu kwa mwosho mmoja.
Escape to a world of freshness. Indulge in fragrance. This is a life full of flavor. So enjoy good health. And new beginnings. Welcome to Pwani Life. This Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. KTN will air live the discussions on Kenya Human Rights Record at the UN Human Rights Committee in Geneva. Delegates of the Kenyan government and civil societies will attend the sessions. Watch it live only on KTN.
Welcome back. You are watching KTN Prime.
Police in Vihiga County are hunting for suspects who dumped bomb-making material at a farm in Hamisi district.
Well, police have not ruled out the Al-Shabaab sympathizers as being behind this latest terror consignment.
And as KTN's Joy Doreen Bira reports, officials say the recovered explosives, if detonated, can cause grave destruction. In this comes amid a number of attacks in parts of the country.
Bomb experts in Vihiga confirmed that an abandoned plastic bag dumped at a farm in Hamisi district did indeed contain 3/4 of a kilogram of nitrate fertilizer, 3 blasting caps, boosters and 5 explosives.
Leo tumefanya uchunguzi na bomb experts wetu na tukaangalia tukakuta ni 3/4 of nitrates, hii ni fertilizer ambayo ni booster, na 3 plastic caps ambayo ni detonators in size 16.
As panic and fear gripped residents, the area district criminal investigative officer Ian could not ascertain if the explosives discovered on Monday evening could be linked to Al-Shabaab.
This is a dangerous explosive ambaye inaweza kutumika vibaya, na tungeomba wananchi waendelee kutupasisha habari kama watapata chochote ambao wanashuku.
Terror attacks in Kenya have in the recent past been on the rise, with the recent being on places of worship, social gatherings and crusades coming under direct attack across the country. And while the fight against terrorism in the country rages on, security of Kenyan citizens remains the biggest fear. Security has been beefed up in parts of the country and nationals implored to remain vigilant and report to authorities any such similar cases. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN Prime.
100 bars have today been shut down by authorities in Nyeri. The affected bars are said to have failed to comply with the liquor licensing law. The bars will now have to wait for about 4 months before they can appeal the decision. They can however continue selling the remaining stock for the next 3 months after being issued with interim licenses for the same period. However, the disgruntled parties say the process has been done unfairly and the motive is questionable. Karon Derry with that story.
Liquor lovers in central Kenya are in for a rude shock following the closure of 60 bars in Nyeri South District and more than 40 others in Nyeri Central District, with others expected to follow suit. This follows the decision made by the respective district licensing courts not to renew some of the establishments, saying they had not adhered to laid out regulations and procedures.
There were some bars that we shut them down, about 60 of them. Basically, the reason why we shut them down was because quite a number of them had not met the requirements that are set by the public health, and others had issues on security.
We met this group of bar owners at Othaya at the Nyeri South District Officer's office. They declined to talk to the media, saying they would do so only after seeking audience with government officials. Central Region has recently been faced with the challenge of excess liquor intake.
Quite a number of Kenyans have died because of consumption of illicit brews. But in this district, we don't have illicit brews. We have the second generation, which, of course, they have also met the standards. But we have to reduce as much as possible those who don't meet the requirement as I said before.
The affected bars will, however, be granted interim licenses that will allow them to sell their remaining stock for the next 3 months. Moreover, for now, they cannot appeal the court's decision till November, when the board will have the next meeting. Central Provincial Commissioner Kiplimo Rugut, whom we found at the DC's office, declined to comment on the issue. However, there are those who said there is malice in the entire process and business rivalry cannot be ruled out. Carol Derry for KTN in Nyeri County.
Time for us to take a break, but when we return, Bonnie Chunya with the business news.
Goldenberg, Anglo Leasing, Maize, Triton, watu wamechoka. And it's as if we have taken a towel. Kenyans are like a towel, you know, if your bath overflows sometimes, you can take even your own towel and throw it on the floor to mop up the water. So corruption no longer shocks us. Scandals no longer shock us. We've become numb in a sense to them.
This Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. KTN will air live the discussions on Kenya human rights record at the UN Human Rights Committee in Geneva. Delegates of the Kenyan government and civil societies will attend the sessions. Watch it live only on KTN.
Our country is set to go to the polls soon. This, the very first under the new constitution. You may ask,
kazi ya IEBC ni kazi gani?
Sasa hiyo uchaguzi itakuwa haki na ukweli.
Well, these are indeed urgent and very weighty issues.
Well, the law now says you don't require a voter's card in order to vote.
At UAP, we enhance lives across Africa. Insurance, investment management, property investment, and financial advisory. UAP, better, simple life.
That's right. Yeah, I wanna see it.
She got her own thing. That's why I love her. Miss Independent. Won't you come and spend a little time? Tell me what they know about my love. Tell me what they know about my
milk.
It takes 1 second to enter, 1 second to go out of hiding, and 1 second to attack you.
Mosquito bites cause malaria.
1 second to infect you.
Not anymore. Now I won't give any of you even 1 second.
New Mortin Doom Power Guard.
Mortin Doom!
Mortin Doom Power Guard with new scientifically proven powerful formula not only kills faster but also longer by killing mosquitoes that surface later, and it keeps killing for up to 1 week.
Even 1 second counts when it's my family's protection.
Come on, they're asleep.
New Mortin Doom Power Guard. Nothing kills faster and keeps killing for longer.
From the most stylish of streets to the roughest of roads. From the town by day to the country at night.
The Nissan Navara Double Cab is one of the unique pickups in the market. One of the features that distinguish the Navara from the rest of the Nissan off-road family is its powerful 2.5-liter common rail turbo engine with outstanding fuel efficiency. The Navara has a sleek yet tough appearance. Everything about the Nissan Navara's exterior exudes power and confidence. It is an ideal vehicle either for individuals who enjoy an off-road lifestyle or business people looking for a reliable pickup.
Nani kama Nissan?
Every year, 15,000 women die as a result of pregnancy and child-related issues in Kenya. The statistics are just staggering. 5 out of every 100 children will not reach their first birthday. And for this reason, Philips Healthcare Africa and Ktn have brought together Saving Mother and Child to discuss the way forward.
Habari njema kwa Wakenya wote kuhusu tume mpya ya uchaguzi isiyoegemea upande wowote.
IEBC, your vote, your future.
Well, a very good evening to you and welcome to your home of business. My name is Boni Tunya. Now, following the recent terror-related attacks at the coastal towns are now on high alert as it is expected to get fever pitch as the tourism industry, a key economic activity in the region, sets in its traditional high season characterized by a high number of tourists visiting the region to enjoy the sun and sand.
The period beginning July is considered a high season month in the tourism calendar. This has in the past seen several visitors flock the country, especially the coastal towns of Mombasa, Malindi and Lamu to enjoy the sun and the beach. However, recent incidences in the coastal region that have been linked to terror attack have dented the image of the coastal region. Additionally, travel advisories by some governments have caused concerns over the safety of holidaying in the coast.
Those advisories, fortunately, fortunately, we haven't had cancellations. We still have a lot of people from the UK, and we also get tourists also from the US. We've never been to Africa, we've never been to Kenya, and they still choose to come to Kenya.
Although the Kenyan government has assured the country of enough security in the coastal region, as well as across the country, operators say that more needs to be done. This is despite indication that some 7,000 security officers will be posted in the region by August.
Once we secure the waters of Somalia, and once Somalia is also secured and there is a lawful government, then I believe the cruise ship will have no reason to avoid the waters of East Africa.
With the current booking said to be well under 20% of the desired bed occupancy, it is expected that this number could go up in the high seasons.
We've been about a week today. We've had a fantastic time. We've been out and about. We've done the safari. About 5 days, 3 different areas. And everybody has been friendly. Everybody. We've had no problems.
Now moving on, leading global bank HSBC provided a conduit for drug kingpins and rogue nations, according to a U.S. Senate committee investigating money laundering claims at the bank. Its report said suspicious funds from countries including Mexico, Iran, Syria had passed through the bank. Now the committee is hearing from HSBC officials, one of whom said he found painful and embarrassing to talk about the bank's shortcoming. HSBC head of group compliance David Bangley stepped down at the hearing. Mr. Bangley told the committee that the bank had fallen short of our own and regulators' expectation, but that a major overhaul of the bank's compliance activities was underway and that HSBC had learned a lot of valuable lessons. HSBC was in April last year given permission to open a representative office in Kenya for marketing and liaison purposes. Now, Kenya's plans to gazette and auction off new blocks for oil and gas exploration. The announcement was made by the Ministry of Energy after finds earlier this year led to avid interest in the previous auction. Now, this comes as prices of Brent crude rose on Tuesday, staying above the $103 per barrel on hopes of more policy steps by central banks to stimulate economic growth.
The tide on Kenya's oil prospects has grown in the last few months following announcements of oil discovery in Turkana County. As a result, the Ministry of Energy now says it will put up for auction additional blocks. According to officials in the ministry, Talo Oil and Anadako Petroleum would surrender acreage in a total of 7 blocks in coming weeks as required in their product sharing contracts with the government of Kenya. In the agreement, Reuters news agency reports that Talo Oil would give up a quarter of its territory in Block 10BB, where it made its March oil discovery, as well as a quarter of Block 13T, both of which are onshore, while Anadako will surrender 25% of each of its 5 offshore blocks. This will then see the government lease out the blocks to the highest bidder. At present, 45 of Kenya's existing 46 blocks are licensed, and the last is in final stages of negotiations. Kenya and its neighbors in East Africa, as well as the Horn of the continent, have become a hotspot for oil and gas exploration in recent years. This has been spurred by new finds in countries including Uganda, Tanzania and Mozambique. Joseph Bonyo, Ktn Business Today.
And now some banking news, where Gishugu Member of Parliament Martha Karua has called on local banks to initiate banking facilities geared towards empowering women financially. Karua said exclusive services meant women will help maintain dignity and increased involvement in economic activities in the country. The Now Kenya leader spoke in Eastleigh during the official launch of a women account by the Gulf African Bank. The account, called the Anisa, is aimed at helping women to access saving and credit facilities at affordable rates based on the Islam banking rules.
You cannot know about your rights. You cannot know when your rights is being violated or threatened unless you read the Constitution. We have a very progressive and comprehensive Bill of Rights. You have to know your rights.
Nafurahia kwa hivyo nikiona Gulf African Bank imejihusisha na kuona wamama wamepata huduma kwa njia ambayo wataweza kutumia huduma za banking na bila kuogopa.
Matters colorful now, and paint maker Duracoat has announced a partnership with American firm Sensational Color in a move that will see Kenyans tap into world color trends as they emerge globally through the New York-based company that develops color information for an exclusive list of clients around the world. Now, in the partnership, Duracoat, which has a range of over 7,000 color shades, will help consumers learn how to create color harmony in their homes and spaces. Basco Paint's managing director Kamla Shah says Duracoat brand promise is based on value addition services to the architects, interior decorators and typical homeowners.
Things and materials that you wouldn't normally see together, so maybe a vintage refrigerator style with a more contemporary.
Now it is that time where we look at how your money is performing at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And first we'll start with a look at the local currency, where the Kenyan shilling was being rated at 84.09 flat and 84.28 selling against the dollar. Against the sterling pound, the shilling traded at 131.62 to 131.95. Against the euro, the shilling stood at 103.28 while it sold at 103.55. Moving on now to the stock market. Any minute now. And the NSE performance, the turnover stood at 307.6 million, while the shares traded were 12.11 million. The NSE 20 share index that recently crossed the 3,700 mark was at 3,708.10 as the bonds traded stood at 1.10 billion shillings. Looking at the most active counters now, KCB was top at 2.95 million. As Safaricom came close there, 2.04 million. Barclays Bank of Kenya came at a decent third at 1.63 million, while Kenol Kobil traded at 1.37 million shares. Winning stocks, the top gainers were Kakuzi up 8.72%, trading at 81. Ravi Pingo was also a winning raise, up 3.03% to trade at 17 shillings, while Everready East Africa up 2.94%, and you could get that at 175 shillings, while Safaricom was up 2.76%, and it was going for 3 shillings and 70 cents. Now look at the day's top losers. And Kabasid was down 9.23%, going for 118, as Athi River Mining was down 8.04%, going at 183 shillings. Diamond Trust Bank was down 7.37%, and it went for 88 shillings, as Williamson Tea was down 3.85%, and you could get that at 250 shillings. Well, and that's your business. We do this again tomorrow. My name is Boni Tunya.
This Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. KTN will air live the discussions on Kenya human rights record at the UN Human Rights Committee in Geneva. Delegates of the Kenyan government and civil societies will attend the sessions. Watch it live only on KTN.
Natural beer, sugar-free, truly Kenyan.
It's now time for sports. I'm Nicholas Mudimba. Athletics Kenya announced today that it will retain the team that represented Kenya in the just concluded World Junior Championships in Barcelona. The team arrived from Spain this morning. Olympic debutants Faith Chepngetich and Timothy Kitum are expected to join the team Kenya camp in Kasarani. Chepngetich won gold in the women's 1,500 meters, while Kitum claimed silver in the men's 800 meters. Victor Gallo reports from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
The 14th edition of the World Junior Championships held in Barcelona, Spain, saw Kenya sign the cream de la cream, among them 2 London Olympic-bound runners